Chapter 65, Divorce. In the name of God, the gracious, the compassionate. O you prophet, when you divorce the women, then they should be divorced while ensuring that their required interim is fulfilled, and keep count of the interim. You shall revere God your Lord, and do not evict the women from their homes, nor should they leave, unless they have committed a proven adultery. These are God's limits. Anyone who transgresses God's limits has wronged his person. You never know, perhaps God will make something come out of this. Then, once the interim is fulfilled, either you remain together equitably, or part ways equitably and have it witnessed by two just people from among you, and give the testimony for God. This is to enlighten those who acknowledge God and the last day. Whosoever reveres God, He will create a solution for him. He will provide for him whence he never expected. Anyone who puts his trust in God, then He suffices him. God's commands will be done. God has decreed for everything its fate. As for the women who have reached menopause, if you have any doubts, their interim shall be 3 months. As for those whose menstruation has ceased, and already pregnant, their interim is until they give birth. Anyone who reveres God, He makes His matters easy for him. This is God's command that He sends down to you. Anyone who is aware of God, He will remit his sins, and will improve his reward. You shall let them reside in the home you were in when you were together, and do not coerce them to make them leave. If they are pregnant, you shall spend on them until they give birth. Then, if they nurse the infant for you, you shall pay them their due for such. You shall maintain the amicable relations between you. If you disagree, then another woman may nurse the child. The rich shall provide support in accordance with his means, and the poor shall provide according to the means that God bestowed upon him. God does not burden any person more than He has given it. God will provide ease after difficulty. Many a community rebelled against the commands of its Lord and His messengers. Thus, we called them to account, and requited them a terrible requital. They tasted the result of their actions, and the consequence of their actions was a total loss. God has prepared for them a severe retribution. Therefore, O the intelligent people who have acknowledged, you shall be aware of God. God has sent down to you a remembrance. A messenger who recites to you God's signs, which are clear, to lead those who acknowledge and work righteousness out of the darkness into the light. Anyone who acknowledges God and does good works, He will admit him into paradises with rivers flowing beneath, they abide therein forever. God has granted for him an excellent reward. God who created 7 heavens and the same number of earths. His command descends between them, that you may know that God is capable of all things, and that God has encompassed all things with His knowledge.